The grocery store buzzed softly with the hum of everyday life. Shopping carts clattered against the polished tiles, and the faint tune of a pop song played from the speakers. It was a Tuesday evening, quiet, unremarkable, yet for Daniel Hayes, it was another test of his patience, endurance, and heart. Daniel, a 35-year-old single father, pushed his shopping cart down the aisles. His 6-year-old daughter Lily sitting inside, swinging her tiny legs. Her curls bounced with every movement as she hummed a tune, clutching her stuffed bunny. "Daddy, can we get cookies?" she asked, pointing at the shelf with hopeful eyes. Daniel smiled faintly. "Only if you promise to eat your vegetables tonight." "Promise," she said immediately, crossing her heart. Daniel chuckled. For the world, he looked like a man who had things under control, calm, collected, loving. But beneath that calm surface was exhaustion. Since his wife Emily passed away 2 years ago after a car accident, every day had felt like a steep climb. Between long shifts as a mechanic and sleepless nights with Lily, life was a constant balancing act. He gathered groceries quickly: bread, milk, some fruits, a box of cereal Lily loved, and wheeled toward the checkout counter. There weren't many people in line, but Daniel noticed the cashier, a young woman in her early 20s maybe. She had tired eyes, dark circles beneath them, and her hands. They trembled. At first he thought maybe she was cold, but as she tried to scan the items, her hands shook so visibly that the scanner beeped twice in error. She whispered a small apology, her voice cracking. "I'm sorry, sir. It's been a long day." "No problem," Daniel said gently. "Take your time." She smiled weakly and continued, her eyes darting nervously toward her manager at the far end of the store. Something about her demeanor struck Daniel, not just fatigue but fear. Her name tag read Sophie. Lily, with her innocent curiosity, noticed too. "Daddy, why is her hand moving like that?" she whispered loudly. Daniel hushed her softly. "Shh, sweetheart, that's not polite." But when he looked at Sophie again, he noticed a tear roll down her cheek. She quickly wiped it away, forcing a smile as she bagged the groceries. "Are you okay?" Daniel asked quietly, once Lily turned her attention to her toy. "I'm fine," she said too quickly, too rehearsed. Her voice trembled like her hands. He tilted his head slightly. "You don't look fine. You look scared." Her eyes widened as if she'd been caught hiding something fragile. For a moment she said nothing, just swallowed hard and tried to focus on the register. The silence stretched. Finally, when no one else was nearby, she whispered, "I'm sorry. I didn't have breakfast today." "Or lunch." Daniel frowned. "You haven't eaten?" Sophie shook her head, embarrassed. "I work double shifts. Rent went up. My brother's sick, and I'm trying to pay his hospital bills." "It's okay, really. I just get lightheaded sometimes." Her attempt to sound casual broke Daniel's heart. He looked at her, really looked, and saw someone drowning quietly while pretending to swim. He knew that feeling all too well. He paid for his groceries and thought for a moment before saying, "Hold on." He walked over to the bakery section nearby and picked up a sandwich, a bottle of juice, and a muffin. He brought them back and placed them gently on the counter. "These aren't for me," he said. "They're for you." Sophie looked stunned. "Sir, you don't have to." "I know I don't," Daniel said softly. "But I've been where you are, hungry, tired, pretending I'm fine when I wasn't. Just take it, please." For a moment she froze, torn between pride and need. Then her eyes softened and tears filled them again. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea how much this means." Lily smiled innocently. "Daddy says when someone helps you, you smile so they know your heart is happy." Sophie laughed weakly, covering her mouth. "Your daughter's very sweet. She gets that from her mom," Daniel said, his voice quieter now. Something shifted in Sophie's eyes. "You're raising her alone?" He nodded. "Yeah, lost my wife 2 years ago. Car accident. I didn't think I could do it at first, but Lily, she keeps me going." The cashier wiped another tear. "You're doing a wonderful job." "She's lucky," Daniel smiled faintly. "I think we're both lucky." Just then, Sophie's manager called out sharply, "Sophie! Breaks over in 5. She nodded quickly, clutching the sandwich and juice as though afraid they might vanish. "Thank you again," she said. "I'll remember this kindness." Daniel smiled. "Just pay it forward someday. That's how the world gets better." 3 weeks passed. Life returned to its usual rhythm. Daniel fixing cars, picking up Lily from school, cooking dinners for two. But that small encounter stayed with him. Sometimes the smallest moments echo the loudest. Then one rainy evening, Daniel found himself rushing Lily to the hospital. She caught a bad fever and her breathing grew shallow. Panic clawed at his chest as he drove through the storm. At the hospital's emergency desk, a nurse looked up. "Can I help you, sir?" Daniel looked up and froze. It was Sophie. Her hair was tied back, and though she wore a nurse's uniform instead of a cashier's apron, those same gentle eyes met his, now steadier, stronger. "Mr. Hayes," she said in surprise. "Lily, right?" Daniel nodded, half breathless. "Yes, she's burning up." Sophie's tone shifted instantly, professional, focused. "Don't worry. You did the right thing bringing her here." She guided them to a doctor quickly, holding Lily's hand the whole time. Hours later, when Lily's fever broke and she slept peacefully, Daniel sat outside her room. Sophie walked over, handing him a cup of coffee. "She'll be fine," Sophie said softly. "Just a viral infection. Kids bounce back fast." Daniel exhaled in relief. "Thank God." Then he looked at her curiously. "You're working here now?" She smiled shyly. "Yeah, I finally finished my nursing degree. The job at the store was temporary. I was just trying to make it through that last semester." Daniel grinned. "You did it," she laughed lightly. "Well, a kind stranger helped me believe I could." He blinked. "Me?" Sophie nodded. "That day you didn't just give me food. You gave me hope. I was ready to quit. I thought no one cared. But your kindness reminded me that people still see each other, really see each other." Daniel felt something tighten in his throat. "Sometimes we meet people for a reason," he said quietly. Sophie nodded. "I believe that now." Lily stirred awake and called softly, "Daddy." Daniel went to her, brushing her hair back. "Hey, baby, you're okay now." Lily blinked, then saw Sophie and smiled. "You're the cookie store lady." Sophie laughed. "That's right. And you're the brave little girl." As Lily dozed back to sleep, Daniel turned to Sophie once more. "I never got to thank you properly. For tonight," Sophie smiled warmly. "Let's call it even." They shared a quiet moment, the kind that didn't need words, just understanding. Weeks later, when Daniel and Lily returned to the hospital for a follow-up, Sophie was there again. This time her hands were steady, her smile full and her eyes bright. "Hey, stranger," she said playfully. "Hey, hero," Daniel replied with a grin. Lily giggled. "Daddy, are we going to see the cookie lady again soon?" Daniel looked at Sophie and smiled. "I think we just might." Moral of the story: sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change someone's world, and that same kindness finds its way back to you when you least expect it. Be the reason someone believes in goodness again.